Okay, let's talk about a very essential and powerful episode or topic, which is the solution to this human race that God has segregated into different races and then ethnicities and then two genders. There's only one religion of God, but due to corruptions, then okay, there's going to be multiple. But religion is not the focus right now. The focus right now is just how can they, as a species, each have their own rights, each have their own dignity in terms of the economic part. This is not about the sort of morality right now. This is about the basic survival, eating, sleeping, shelter, like that. The basic survival, the infrastructure, etc. of your society. The solution is simple, is what God taught you in your own little personal situations, such as when two kids fight. So first I'm going to teach you the psychology, how demons cause all these problems. Give me 1 second. Okay. So what I have observed is that Africans are the problem in the human race. If they had their own wealthy countries, their continent was actually normal, then the human race would be wealthy. So this race, fixing their problem is linked to fixing all poverty in the world, because demons are using them to spread poverty. And from a spiritual place, they curse this race to always have poverty issues. So it's not really just about the economical things, the human actions that cause them to be poor, many coming from themselves, but it's spiritual. If you know anything about religion, that situation where you curse someone, like, oh, I hope you die today, it's like that. Someone cursed them with poverty. And then that is being used. It could have been another race, so it doesn't have anything to do with them. Back in human history, another race was this situation, okay? But this curse on them is being used to drag everyone else. One, just logically. Obviously, they're going to move around and they're going to cause problems everywhere. Two, the immorality part. There's a lot of racism towards them, a lot of envy towards them. Racism comes from envy. Sexism comes from envy. Evil comes from envy. Perversion comes from envy. Everything comes from envy. You don't bother people you hate. You actually get away from someone if you don't like them. So anytime you see evil behavior from person number one to person number two, person number one is jealous of person number two. We don't bother people we think we're better than. So this sort of superiority nonsense or white supremacy doesn't exist. If they thought they were better, they'd leave these people alone. It's jealousy. They are jealous of these people, the gifts God gave them. So evil literally comes from envy, okay? And then the envy leads to hatred, and the hatred then makes you do bad behavior. Physical, verbal, psychological, physiological, whatever, and spiritual, such as cursing people, putting witchcraft on them, etc. Spiritual attacks, sending demons to attack them. And at some point it's going to be, okay, a whole race, a whole gender. So someone's jealous of the female gender and curse them. And in every civilization, I'm sure there were women prophets in human history. They always take that out of society, out of your books, out of everything. So that then it's easy to keep perpetuating the sexism against them. Because you cannot teach human beings sexism as a devil. If in their history and in their scripture, God is saying women were prophets and messengers, how are you going to do that? How can they be the leaders of the world? A prophet and a messenger is a leader. You cannot lead people. You cannot lead God's religion, right? And be a woman, and then at the same time, you're being told to be sexist to yourself and sexist to others. Okay, so they have to take that part out of the scripture. They have to take that part out of the religion. Okay, so the religion is the first area the devil attacked. That's the first thing he changed or ruined, the corruption. Okay, and then it's easy for them to then now go into the government. That's why every time religion comes back to fight you, you evil humans, get you out, and your demons and evil powers that demons are using to possess you, it always has to deal with governments first. Those city leaders, those community, whatever members, they're the second problem, because then they're going to use government as demons to do what? Again, exactly. Act like a god and say their version, which is sexism, is right. We get to tell you what to do with your body. We get to tell you because you're female, you're built like this. It's not safe for you to go outside, so stay home. Well, there's going to be kids coming out. So, okay, it's easy if the religious rights are taken from her because you actually erase from history that they also had a part in religious leadership. And you just take important names in history. Mary, this other lady, and you just succumb them to lower ranks. Oh, she's just a mother. Oh, this person was just a nice wife. Oh, the blah, 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 blah. You always take away that leadership. Then it's easy to say she cannot tell males what to do. Only males can be leaders. It's easy now. So they have to take out from history if women were prophets and messengers. Because you cannot have them as prophets and messengers and have a scripture that teaches you to objectify and control them and tells them to allow it. So I don't know how it's possible that in human history, no matter how much civilized this race gets, that knowledge is always erased. That's woof. We need to do something to make sure when this time the leaders come back and all this wickedness is destroyed, there has to be a way you and human beings work with me to make sure this part does not ever get erased, that I was a woman because I came to help you. And that other leaders, their identity first, their race and gender does not get erased. That's the first thing we have to sit down and talk about. Because if we write books, the books can be destroyed and corrupted. If we build some sort of rock or something, well, it can be destroyed. We put something into a cave, the cave can be demolished. We need something, some encryption between us as a species that will always know at least those 2-3 sentences. God's view on women and this African race and the human race overall. Because it keeps coming back for a reason. And other times, other races were put into the African box. At some point, the Europeans were put down. At some point, the Asians were put down. More specifically, the sort of Asian of Arabs were put down. It doesn't matter. But I have noticed the African is being dragged a little too long. Here's the solutions. I told you the problem. Here's the solution. So what I've learned is that these human beings who are European and these human beings who are Asian, whether they're Arab or the other type of Asians, we don't care. As long as they're not African, okay? These other races, don't worry about ethnicities. These other races don't have that demon that makes them hate each other because they're not better. They're just like any other human race. It's just what demons want to do. That's how you guys know demons have control over you and you're stupid. Do you understand? Demons have control over you. Because if they say to themselves, we're going to make this hate come between the race, or this hate come between A and B, then for some reason it happens. So it doesn't mean that group didn't develop racism within themselves because somehow they're so smart or so moral. No, demons didn't want to do that because it's their job to put this group down now in this sort of certain time in human history. While another time in human history, just a few civilizations ago, it was another group that was having that internal racism. It's that simple. So don't ever look at yourself as a species and be like, what's wrong with us in that sense? Don't put each other down. No, demons are causing the problem. You are only responsible for your own evil conduct. But don't link yourself to a race and be like, their problems are my problem. How could they hate each other? We must be dumb. How come the other races are? No. That other race you think is getting along today was killing each other yesterday. Okay? You just live in a time where now it's your turn to see your own race have the problem. So Africans are the issue in the world. If we were to remove the African race, if we were to remove them, if every African left every country they don't belong in, and everybody went back to their continent, do you know what would happen? Europeans would start to build their own countries. They're going to make it wealthy. Asians will make their countries wealthy. The Arabs, that sort of Asians, will make their countries wealthy. So you are the reason they don't want to make their countries wealthy. You are the reason, for example, in the US, every train station, every train itself, and then the taxis, and then the buses, And then those sort of places are like the streets and downtown, you're the reason why those places never get built. Like, for example, right now, China is building their infrastructure, extremely beautiful and extremely advanced. The US has the same ability to do the same. And other countries that we would say are developed have the ability, but they're scared that if they were to develop their countries, just like China does, that you, the African Americans, will benefit from it, that they hate. Do you understand what I just told you? They want to have a beautiful country. They want every... One thing I notice about the US is the roads are dirty. The grasses are nasty and dirty. I don't necessarily mean dirt as in like there's feces on it. No, it's just not beautiful. The grass is not beautiful and green and nice. Their streets are not perfect. They build the sidewalks in a way that the person walking is who they're basically against. And the vehicle human is always in sort of that sort of spot of being given that sort of better experience. The one driving seems to have a better experience. The one driving seems to have a better experience than the one walking. Okay. So all this stuff is centered on the human beings they know would normally be walking, would normally be taking buses and trains, would normally be exactly taking taxis. You, homeless people. But who are homeless people? African Americans. If anyone else has ever become homeless like me in the past, that's because I'm in a weird situation. I'm not a regular human. So for me, only God puts me in these situations so I know how to help you one day. Okay, but other human beings who are obviously not me, right? I was just giving you an example of me. But human beings, regular human beings, if they've ever been homeless, it's because of something humanly logical. That the next day they'll get a job and they'll be fine. Do you get me? It has nothing to do with them. Okay, but the moment you think of the word homeless, who comes to your mind? African Americans, not Africans. Because if you observe Africans, they don't become homeless. They all have jobs and homes. So this is then a problem within just this one ethnic group. They're not their own ethnic group. They're just Africans who mixed in human history and they became African Americans. That's why their appearance is so a bit too different than the actual African race. We cannot put them in an ethnicity because they don't have anywhere to go. They just became their own. So let's treat them as their own ethnicity. Okay, but because demons caused them to become this group through abuse and slavery and rape and filth, well, of course they hate you. And of course everyone else is uncomfortable with you because you're not a normal ethnicity God himself designed. You came together from a place of evil being done. Okay, so you're always going to have that feeling of feeling alienated. That's not because that's meanness. No, you are different. You are different. You don't have a place. You don't have a place you belong. Don't be like I belong in the Africa continent. Where? Where are you going to go? Who's going to accept you? What country? Everyone has their own land. You don't. So demons are observing you, and they caused you to appear. They caused some people to mate, and you came out. Do you understand? You don't have your own. So we're going to call you your own ethnicity, and we're going to tell you you're the first group demons hate, and they're coming after you. Because if we stop the problems that they caused for you and we fix the issues within you, we fix you. Then we fix the other Africans. Then demons lose control. They need to keep you poor. They need to keep you dumb and obsessed with the European race and submissive to them. Because you and I are not going to sit here and argue. You are submissive to them. You are. In human history, humans have always observed you being very submissive to this race. Humans are constantly harassing me right now as I record this. They have no reason to be talking to me. It's because I'm recording and their demons are manifesting. I'm not messing with this. I'll just wait until they leave. But I need to record. So you see, you guys see what I'm talking about when I tell you demons harass me when I talk about the truth. And they're using African Americans. How excellent. They just sit and harass me. They get very close to my personal space and they just want to bother me, you know? But I'm not being afraid of their demons, trying to make it seem as if then they can do something or something. You have no right to say anything about me because they like to always accuse me of something. Okay, so the past few years, I would say the last 2 years, God has made me constantly be surrounded by the African Americans. He takes me to the South, a place I'd never come to, the southern states. And even though Mexicans live here, Asians live here, right? Europeans live here, it's always them that God will bring. And I don't understand. It's because he's saying they need way more help than the entire human species. If we would just segregate them, right? And the other human species, let's call them 99.9. And they're the last one, 0. Okay. All of us are in the 99.9. It took God, what? A few moments here and there to teach me what's wrong with the others? But I've been here 2 years. A little more than that, learning what the hell's wrong with this ethnicity. They have the most creepiest humans. They have the most creepiest culture. They have the most nastiest children. They have the most disgusting lost teenagers. They have a problem. We have a big problem. And because of that, because demons have learned that I'm going to get rid of their problem, God allows them to use them to bring them out, like now, and do annoying behavior to harass me so that I see what the hell's wrong with them. Okay? So that was not directed at me. That's not real behavior. I'm not a regular human. No one can actually harass me or be bad to me. This is fake. It's how I learned what the hell's wrong with you. And I got off topic now, so let's go back. Basically, they're demons. They're not human. I can say whatever I want in this public place. No one can have the actual opinion to judge what I'm saying. I'm not a real human like you. You cannot judge me. Everyone's blind. So the goal of the demon is to shut me up and not record these episodes by bringing people to approach me and bother me when I record. So then they can put thoughts into my head that, hey, humans are around you. Don't record such a topic. Like, they're demon. They're not human. They don't have the consciousness of a human like the one listening to me. They're not going to be able to judge or understand anything. They're dead and demons. They're just agents to teach me what the hell's wrong with them. So I don't have to care what they think, but that's why they approach me. Because if they pass me by, it doesn't affect me. But if they say, excuse me, where's the blood? Okay, then there's so much evil they can put on me now of thoughts and feelings and anger. I just needed you to understand why they did that. It's because they actually want me to think these people can see and hear what I'm saying and judge me, and I should maybe stop my recording and go somewhere else. They're dead. That's a demon, not a human. I don't have to care what the hell they hear, okay? That's your evidence I'm not a regular person. Okay. I could not understand why God won't stop surrounding me with this ethnicity, with African Americans, even though I'm still in the U.S., and this is not their country, and there's all these other ethnic groups and other races, and no matter what, they disappear and only they appear. God is saying, do you see how long it takes to understand their psychology? Do you see just how many weird problems they have? That means I have to deal with them first, the demons within them. Okay. Because they're connected to poverty. Therefore, unless you stop the poverty within them, you're not going to have wealth as Europeans. You're not going to have wealth as the other Africans. You're not going to have wealth as Asians, as Arabs. None of you are going to be free. If this one group that seems to always be in the bottom, you all just think, well, let's push them aside. Let's help each other. You can't. Because one, they're going to travel to your countries. They're going to cause the same problem. Two, there's demons on them. Demons will curse you. So from a spiritual place, it's not actually possible for you to just ignore them. Because, right, you're an individual and you have the right to just live the way you want. No, there's a spiritual curse on them. They're cursed. So if they come to your city, your country, your land, that curse is going to fall on you. They're basically, and some of them are intentionally cursing you. They're going to basically affect you with it. They're bothering me again. They're going to basically affect you with it and your country will fall down. Yes, I just said that. Your actual countries will be cursed with poverty because these people who are cursed with poverty are around you. Demons will use them to torment your cities just like they're doing now after COVID. Almost all the criminals, right? The sort of main crimes, we don't mean murders and every ethnicity, there's evil among them. They commit heinous crimes. But specific crimes that you and I would say disrupts daily living. Okay, Africans are doing it more, but which group? Because we're not talking about Africa. We're talking about these countries that are not their own. African Americans are doing it. They're the main perpetrator of crime. No one's going to ignore that anymore. That's problem number one. If we get rid of the demons of the Africans But then first, this group that's the most damaged, that does not have their own place, and therefore they roam around, and wherever they go, there's problem. Because you take away their basic human right to have their own country, their own land, their own space, their own society. Okay, they're gonna be in your streets. A lot of them are evil. So it's not like they're good people working hard. A lot of them are evil. The majority of the human race is evil anyway. And okay, now you have more problems than you can imagine. If the average one in the street is evil versus a poor, nice, homeless, that's because demons will make sure the evil ones are homeless more. So they can actually then use them to cause the second problem. Problem for women and men overall, which is safety. And then other human beings who then we put into this box of homeless and poor, right? Other human beings now from all races and ethnicities who also will become poor and be in the streets. And then they're going to take these very lowly and shabby jobs like train drivers, bus drivers, Lyft drivers, cashiers, hotel workers, the main jobs in front of you, that officer, that security guard. Now all you're going to deal with is inappropriate behavior, perverted behavior, sexist behavior, discrimination, sabotage, harassment. Because these lowly humans are taking these jobs. No one teaches them morality or manners. No one changes them. They just give them a job. As if character doesn't matter. As if you don't need to have some standards you teach your employees. Demons are causing the problem. Okay, so stay with me. It's Africans, therefore, that are like the issue. When I say issue, don't mock anybody and actually think someone's being insulted or something. No, they're the issue. Europeans would build their countries. You know how people talk about how they build their benches, like in the US and other Euro countries, right? These people you call white, stop calling them white and stop calling Africans black. There's no such thing as a color here. They have a name, just as you wouldn't call me my skin color. You give me a name. What's my name? What's my father's name? Like that. You have to respect people. They come from a continent and a race. You guys are Europeans who like to call yourself white. And then these people are Africans. Then we have to separate which ethnicity. That's how we respect each other. Stop with the color naming. 2, if we get all Africans out of these countries, Europeans, such as, right, the Europeans here, the Caucasians, right, this country would actually build it very beautifully, just like China. But that racism is there, that fear is there, that if they were to ever since, right, slavery was stopped, if they were to ever improve their country for themselves, it doesn't matter, just their common sense as a human being, right, to just make their country beautiful and nice and have a great infrastructure. You think they don't have the ability? You think their government just hates themselves? No, they would love to have a beautiful country. They don't want to because they know this group is living with them that they don't like. This group that their ancestors enslaved, and they don't like the fact that they get to now be free and live like this and like that. They know then these African Americans will also be wealthy, get off the streets. They're going to have the same experience they have. And that is what's scaring them away from building beautiful cities, beautiful infrastructure and trains and places that these types of, right, human beings who are poor, whether they're African Americans or others who are very lowly and creepy and drug addicts and crazy, where they like to stay. The streets, the trains, the buses. So they build it in a way where, as I was saying, the benches is made of metal. It's painful. It doesn't let someone sleep. It doesn't let someone feel comfortable. There's no resource. All the nonprofits, the churches, the mosques, the shelters, including the jails and the prisons, are nothing but they're designed. They're designed nothing but to make sure these groups stay this way. That you don't ever get mixed with the wealthy side of society. They have to keep you out. So why is China succeeding? Why are they building beautiful cities? Because they're one ethnicity. So don't think they're better than anybody. Don't think then there's something wrong with this race. Don't ever actually let demons corrupt you. We're human beings. We're individuals. There's good and evil among us. Evil is bad and weak. Good is strong and correct. But when you come together as a group, the evil ones among us get to ruin us as a group, our image. So we can't just be like, we need to fix the evil ones among us. We can't just do that. We have to observe the others. Why are they advancing? They get to help you see the solution. God himself said he created us, right, to know each other by making us into smaller communities. He's the one who made multiple races, and then he's the one who segregated us into ethnicities, and then he's the one, right, because of that, that's how we know each other. Are you honestly gonna learn every language of the human race? You're gonna die. So it's actually from that wisdom that he wants us to have smaller communities, because he didn't design you to just mix and everything's gonna be fine in that way. One, because there's evil, but even without evil, that right to have your own space, that has nothing to do with immorality. That's from God. You and I right now, if we were two good people and we were neighbors, that doesn't mean that we live in the same house just because we're both moral. What would you and I say is our human decency and right to survive? You have your own house and I have my own house, and there's some space between it. Don't come here. So that's the only way you and I can actually coexist. I need my own space. So if you take the space from Africans, you destroy their continent, and the other part, they destroy it themselves. And okay, now they come to your countries and you hate them so much. You don't want them to succeed because you're jealous of them. You know, you don't look down on them. You know they have some blessings. You're scared they're going to have wealth and just basically take over areas of this world that you would say would make you feel intimidated. It's just envy. Because you have a bad heart instead of being happy for them. And you just then learning from each other and all improving together. I told you, it's the evil one among us that's our problem. But if you all focus on morality, character, criminality, you can never fix the problem. Because you cannot control people's character, correct? So you cannot get rid of crime by just being like, what should we do to stop crime in our city? You cannot stop crime. Because you cannot stop an evil human being from developing, correct? What you need to do is figure out the actual reason why there's crime, the actual reason why you seem to have a hard time stopping it and decreasing it. You are too many. There's too many of you. There needs to be some segregation. There needs to be some balance. And everyone needs to have their own space. Now, from the psychology of demons, they cannot come in and bring those bad ones to your cities. Because those bad ones have their own little house over there. I know you don't want to give them a house, but that's God's law that they have their own space. Don't think you're helping a wicked human. If they do something evil, they kill someone, okay. Now you take their house, you kill them, fine. But when they're just bad person, that's not your business. That's their human right to have their own space, have their own place, and as an ethnicity to have their own country, and then as a race to have their own continent. So then do you see why demons always, every few centuries, when humans are becoming civilized, and then one little group is left, just a few more countries, if they also become developed, you would say human beings will get along. Boom, a war starts. That's because they're seeing the advancement is reaching. It's reaching. People are becoming friendlier. They're getting along. Wealth does impact human beings. It does make them feel emotionally better. A lot of evil human beings would not be committing crime if they had nice things. Okay? We're not saying that's the first reason, goodness. We're just telling you what demons are using, okay? They have no life. They just roam the streets all day. If they had a life, would they be roaming your streets? No. So demons have to make them poor. They have to make them lowly. Poor doesn't mean homeless. Just poor, just lowly. That immorality is already in their heart. That's the first reason they would come and steal from you. No one's connecting it to the poverty, okay? Good people are poor, goodness. But you get me. They already corrupted their heart. They know that they can do evil. Okay, but if you distract them, if they have so much, it's okay, they're going to do some evil, but not all evil. Do you see what I'm saying? Some has to come out, but the rest that you would say disrupts daily living. Just when you go outside, you can't even live in peace. There's all these homeless, all these drug addicts, all these disgusting looking humans, these perverts, these weirdos. That's because their basic living is taken. Don't be like, that's our country. They did a horrible job. Let's vote for this person. It's not about that. You have to, as a human race, agree on your basic human right. Your ability to survive belongs to you, and it's not something a government can decide for you. Okay, but you try to fight with governments and they're in your way. And then you're thinking, we didn't do anything wrong. They're just a problem. They always push us to war. We don't want to war. Just relax. Why are they able to create war? Why are they able to not listen to you? Why do they not care? Because there's too many of you. There are people who shouldn't even be living here. Until the world gets just and nice and loving, then people as human beings, right, as brothers and sisters in humanity, then we can visit each other. Oh, I'm going to go visit my African brother in so-and-so country. This European or Asian can say that. And vice versa. That's the only way we should mix and visit each other. When things are nice and we can actually visit each other from a place of like how your friends visit your house. Your siblings visit your own personal home that you have with, right, your own family here. That sort of visit. So you have to, in order to see the solution to global problems, go to the individual human problem. Exactly, envious siblings. You, a parent, you see them fighting over this toys and whatever they have. You know you're not going to tell them to shut up and you're not going to incarcerate them. Nor are you going to sit there and teach them morality. You know one will not listen and still have a bad heart. What is it that you always do to make sure this one doesn't infringe on the right of this one? You give this one their own little space. You give that one their own little space. Now this one, despite their immorality, you see what I'm saying? They cannot come here and be like this belongs to them. Because you know how evil likes to act. It likes to create excuses for its own evil conduct, sin. Things that don't have an excuse. Nothing can justify evil. They like to create an excuse and say, but this person, I only have 50% of this. They have 100. They fight with them. Demons are seeing that they can make you, human beings, fight with each other over money, over finances, over wealth, over basically the blessings of this earth. They're already evil. That's the first reason they're fighting with you. But at least if they had their own space, can we decrease it? We're just talking about decreasing. Okay, and then the other ones who, right, when they have their own space and want to hang around stealing, you punish them. That is going to then get rid of the other half, the other 50% of the reason why evil then will happen. But this first 50%, they're basically saying, we're going to make them useless and poor and miserable. We're going to curse them. Wherever they go, they're going to have more envy enter their heart because their basic human rights are taken away. We're going to use that to then make them sit in people's streets every day, businesses, make everything ugly and dirty and nasty. And now no one knows how to stop them because they know, as a human race, they can't make evil person good person. Therefore, no matter, they just going to go as a species and try to just make them good people, to call them to God, make governments just teach them to be lawful citizens. And they know they will fail. You cannot change them. They're evil. But can you keep them away from yourself? Give them their own house and get the hell off my street. Do you see what I'm saying? You have to be smart. They're not distracted with their own blessings. They don't have anything. So they want to come and take yours. That's why demons love poverty. And that's why prophets and messengers and someone like me who's not a regular human who came to help you like them, that's why God put me through poverty many times. It's not because they were some sort of weak people who also would become poor. We're gifted. Why would we become poor? That's how you know that demons never persecuted prophets and messengers, nor did they persecute me. This is your evidence. God puts us in these situations because there you go. They don't have the ability to make us poor. We're gifted. I can start 20 businesses right now. I can be a leader for anybody and help anybody. Why would I be poor? I'm intelligent. Why would I be poor? So it's not demons. God puts us through these situations so we actually see the demographics of his creation that are suffering. One of them, not all of them, right? But one of them, their suffering is money. They're poor. So then God makes us also go through poverty. Is that the only thing we went through? I went to jail. Prophets went to jail. You see, there's other sufferings. I didn't get married till now. A lot of them didn't get married. Well, that's more like a social suffering. I don't have friends. Well, a lot of them were isolated. Okay, but one day we're going to get married. One day we're going to have friends. One day we're going to have wealth. Do you get the point? It's just for a period of time, so we are put in the situation of those who are suffering, so we can understand who put them in the suffering. Why are they not able to get out of poverty? If you never go through it, you don't necessarily understand why these people can't get out of it, because you don't go through the system. But since we're not regular people, we actually know demons are being used to teach us what's wrong with these people who are the bottom of any situation in life. Calamities, diseases, problems, poverty, whatever. And then since we're not going to be made to become evil, goodness, ill, to learn what evil is, we're just surrounded by evil humans. They possess evil humans. They make them bother us, a.k.a. the persecution. They're not persecuting you because they're not as strong as you. They're blind like these ones. Hundreds of them that I'm recording this, and none of them can even look at me and be like, what did the person just say? They're blind, okay? They're dead. This is your evidence I'm not a regular person, because no one can judge what the hell I'm recording in front of this public place. They're dead. I'm not human like you. I just came to help you, like your prophets and messengers were. So that's why then it seems like persecution. Oh, this person was harassed. This person was put in jail. No, God put us in those situations. He makes us see the demographic that's evil too, because they're also in a lack. They lack morality. It's their fault, right? But it's still a lack, right? You're not normal. Lack doesn't just mean something good, right, that you lack. It can also be something like that. They lack morality. So since we're not going to be made to become evil, to then learn what its psychology is, right, ill, we have to be surrounded by those who are evil. So we learn their psychology. And that's how then we're able to see demonic spirits are causing it. The spiritual side is the solution, not the physical. You can sit with them and give them 10 hours of therapy. That does not change their heart. God have mercy. Why did God create hell if you could just change someone's heart? Exactly. Hell is there to already tell you some will not change. That yes, God created that quality of teaching them, but okay, right? Calling them back, okay. And they know right from wrong. We don't mean that type of teaching. We just mean, you're calling them, which is still like a teaching. But okay, hell is there to then tell you what? Exactly. The entire species cannot go to paradise. So you have to then prepare yourself. I told you guys. For that 25% criminal that will always be there because of just that basic quality of their immorality. But then this one, the other right, 25%. Not 25%, sorry. That 50% of their immorality, when they act on it, where it's coming from, is okay, just because they're obviously evil. That's the one you can never prevent, and that's where punishment comes in. And punishment will stop it. That's what humans always tell you. It doesn't matter how many times we punish these human beings, they don't decrease. The more we are severe in punishment, the more they increase. That's a lie. Are you mocking God? He's severe in punishment. He created hellfire. You saying it doesn't work? No, it's because there's another way to deal with crime and evil. Exactly. The one who just gets up and does crime, that's the one punishment was made. The one who just gets up and does crime, okay, same reason they're evil, but they did it because they're lowly. They did it because they have some lack that's economical, that's worldly, and they're using that to then go and create chaos for you who doesn't have that problem. That's the one where the other 50% applies to them. You give them their own survival. You give them their own basic human rights from God. Stop stealing from them. Stop acting like a god over them, and release each other as a species. Leave each other alone. Now everyone has their own space. Who cares about your house? They have their house. We just got rid of the other way they go and commit crime. Okay, now evil has ended. We have a solution for it. Okay, so Africans are the issue in this lifetime, okay? In this lifetime, since they're the ones who are poor, and then the poverty pushes them out of their countries. For that reason, they're going to come to other countries. Those other countries, if they were moral, if good people were there in your governments, right? If the good people in society were to take governments, well then, okay, they would build a beautiful country that's gonna help the poor get out of poverty. Do you agree? Okay, but since we just said, right, 50% of evil cannot be annihilated in that way. We can't prevent it. It's the one that will just happen because evil is actually out there. That's the one you just have to always punish. You can't treat it in that way of prevention as much. You can just sort of treat it. Again, you can prevent this one too, goodness. I just mean, you get me, at some point one will happen. Okay, so yes, you apply prevention, but you treat it with justice. You get me? You punish it. Okay. But you're going to argue on that treatment. You're going to argue on how to punish because you disagree on religion. You disagree on morality. So do you see then why humans in history always wanted to segregate? It's not because demons taught them to hate each other. It's because that really is the solution. That segregation doesn't mean always that it has to be ethnic or no. Someone may not even want to be around their race or ethnicity. They may not like them. Someone might have an ethnicity that moment that 99.9 is evil. And they're like a few percent, you get me? Let's say 90% evil. There could be 10% of the ethnicity that's actually moral people like that. Now where are they going to go? We mean whatever they agree on. Some we have to look at them and be like, you guys as an ethnicity should come together. You have to go somewhere else like African Americans so that then the problem stops. This is a cycle. It's a curse. They're never going to get out of their cycle of always being treated the way they are. Because it's just human nature. Others will look down on you because you don't have your own thing. You need your own little thing. You need your own little land, your own little house. Just like your neighbors will look down on you because they have a house and you don't. Okay, let's say this neighbor is a good person. Okay, they don't have the quality of looking down on you. But it's still going to make them uncomfortable. Keyword, uncomfortable to see you every day. Because to them, you're strange. You're like deficient in your ability to be just like them and work hard and get your own little house. They don't understand why you don't want to work hard like they did. And you're always playing victim here. They did this to me. They did. Why? Why are you playing victim? You are forcing yourself into this race, the European. They're not your race. You're obsessed with them and you're submissive to them. I built this country. Who cares? Other people in human history have built places that right now other people are living in. We're a race, okay? We're a human species. That means we've always contributed to each other. That doesn't mean we're denying anything that you contributed also because people tell you maybe you should go somewhere else, that you're treated better. It may not even be your own place just by yourself. It could just be a group in the human race that loves you. Okay, now you contribute and build something great. No one is telling you to just be alone. That's just for some people that might be their thing. I want you to follow what I'm saying, okay? I've been put off topic by those human beings who their demon possessed them to bother me. So, as you can see, I'm not really telling you what I wanted to tell you. So stay with me. Don't get off topic. So, China is one ethnic group. If you bring a human group like that together, they're going to succeed and create wealth because they don't have envy. No one is looking down on the other group and saying, we're scared of them, right? Somehow benefiting if we make this country beautiful. We have great ideas because God just, even if you're evil, He just, as a creator, just gives you ideas, blessings. It doesn't mean He takes your blessings away because you're evil, goodness, right? So it doesn't matter their morality. As a group that He created, He already created in them that innate human nature to evolve and be advanced and think of ideas and learn from others. And okay, then their civilization grows. Okay, but if there's a group that the U.S. is scared of and Europeans overall, which is Africans, they're afraid this race will make wealth again. The ones who are already living in their countries, they have to keep you out of that wealth. Okay, and then the ones living in their own continent, other things are keeping them out of wealth. And these Europeans and Asians and Arabs and everyone else, the evil humans among them, okay, just the evil ones, are working together in a way where then they still keep them out of the wealth. Do you see the point? The U.S. is very advanced, but their country is ugly. Their homes are ugly. It's easily destroyable also. Their trains and buses and these places, like their cops, are very lowly humans. You know, very poor appearance, right? Very obese looking, very narcissistic, very lowly. They're not healthy, disciplined, nice people. you know? Even if they're evil, you get me? At least they're not disciplined. There's no discipline. They act like crazy bully children, right? So police will make you unsafe. The government will make you unsafe. Specifically, the politicians look like children. They act like children. They talk like children. They pick on each other like children. Everyone's like a kid here. You're all like children because you're narcissistic. That means you're no longer human. The highest demons are possessing you. You've lost the soul. If those types of humans are always taking over these important jobs, that you would say, I told you guys, when you step outside of your home, you get me? The streets are not safe and nice for everybody. When you go to places that you would create wealth, which is the workplace, it's not safe and nice. Now the other demons come in. These demons are not targeting Africans as much. They're targeting women's rights. So we have two demons we need to get rid of. Demons of racism, right? And demons of sexism, which in the sexism would involve the perversion and all other immoralities and crime, etc. But since the first immorality they focus on here to divide this other group from the rest is, okay, they go after women's rights. This human race, their problems will never stop until women's rights and Africans' rights are given back. And you all leave each other alone and stop acting like fake gods over each other, which I just told you is not possible. There's evil humans. They won't change. Those are demons, not them, who act that way. And they don't believe that. They don't think that way. Goodness, they're human. They know they're equal to you. They just act that way. So since you cannot change them, punishment is supposed to change those ones. Punishment is supposed to just get rid of them. But the other problems that you would say is chaotic and easily resolvable if you just make your societies right, have decency, give everyone housing, things like that. That's the one you first have to focus on, because the other one you can't agree on it because you have different religions, different ethnic groups, different races, and different levels of morality. You're not going to agree on the justice system. So do you see what I mean by you have to segregate? Those who think similar in their justice system need to come together. Leave the others alone to go over there, do their own little thing. And demons know that's it. They know khalas, finished. They know then those ones will suffer from their wicked justice systems, right? And they'll at some point fall on their knees and come to you. Or just simply, right? They'll just crumble and you'll just point at them and be like, we told you. Do you want to join us? They don't like that. They need you, the ones who are decent, to mix with them. That's why they hate segregation. They hate it. It's not a bad thing to segregate. The human race should not segregate. We should always be connected. Do you see what I'm saying? But in terms of where we live, that is different. Because we have to have our own space, just like my house and your house. You, a stranger, is not going to live in my house. Do you agree? You have no relation with me. You cannot enter my house. So we're still going to be humanity with each other. I'll greet you outside. But in your house, you're going to be there. And in my house, I'm going to be here. That's what I mean by segregation. Give me my own space and I give you your own space. We don't act like fake gods over each other. We both have our own little place. Now we really can focus on the other problems in life. We can really focus on the murder. The other type of crimes that you can never stop because it's really, really about immorality. While other problems, okay, poverty is causing it. You can't just be like, we need ideas. We need governments to fund. Governments are losing a lot of money to these dumb nonprofits, these churches and mosques and places and shelters that are stealing money. They're just eating it up. It's not going to anybody. It's not going to solve anything because demons created those types of organizations to destroy the actual solution to poverty. You actually build a specific segment of society. See, everything is about segregation. You build an actual system where an actual segment of your city, every city, right, or a state, whatever, you build an actual highly, basically it's a large plot of land is what I'm saying. You dedicate it to the poor. You see? That way the wealthy can't come in. The others can't come in. It's just their place. No one is treating them like some sort of property that is being monitored. What's your name? Okay. What time did you check in today? Okay. When you leave, no one's talking to them in that nasty way. They all have their own place. They all have their own housing. They get to have support to get education in their jobs and then enter the other society. enter that place over there where people are laughing and having a great time because they have good jobs and they're wealthy. But if you put humans here again, acting like fake gods again, we have the same dumb system again that's always trying to put someone above another person. I get to monitor you, you homeless person. You're less than me. So yeah, I know you had a great job before, but now you're homeless. Now you're lowly. Haha. I'm the one who's normal because I have a job, even though they can lose a job the next day and also be just like this person. So I get to treat you like some less thing. So okay, what's your name? No, miss, what's your name? Okay, we're gonna kick you out of the shelter if you don't. We don't want this nonsense. Do you understand? Give them their own key. Give them their own little place. Let them enter their home. Let them have their privacy, their space, their system. Just like you and I when we were growing up, then let them go to school. Let them go just like normal people who have jobs, right? These humans, right? Give them the same system. They go to school too. They go to this internship or whatever. Now they get to join the workplace. Do you see how logical it is? All they lost was their shelter and food and just basic necessities like hygiene to survive. They just lost what a home would provide. All you have to do is simply give them that, but stop managing it. You're not their God. Stop managing it. They're not less than you. And it's not like animals that you have to sort of, right, train them and teach them certain things because animals are not, right, as advanced as you. So no, you're not going to treat them like some animals. There's too many of them in this house. What if they kill each other? We have to. You're not going to treat humans like animals. You're not going to act like you need to be there. No, give them a landlord. Just like normal people are treated dignified. There's a landlord. The landlord is not treating any of us as less beings they're monitoring. No, they're just simply making sure that building is taken care of. They take money, they put it into the building. It's like that. Someone has to manage the place we all live in. So it's just make it a normal place where people live. But they don't have to pay anything. It's that place they go when everyone lost their money. That doctor lost their job. This drug addict who had a job for 3 days quit, and like that, no matter which human they are, they have the right to survive and have a living. Unless they've done heinous crimes, then they have no right to live. Like, if you murdered someone, you kill them. But they didn't go there. You punish them for smaller crimes accordingly. You come to agreements on that. I cannot make you all agree on that as a human race. You have different levels of morality. You'll fight over it. But at least the survival aspects of you, right? Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You need to make sure you stop thinking you have to fight with governments to get it. They're never going to say yes. Those are not humans. Those are demons. Those demons like to act like some fake god over you. They just possess their body. That's why you can't get to an agreement with them. You're thinking they're human like me. Why are they so against us? They're not human. They possess that moment. So they're just going to, as demons, their agenda to make you suffer, they're going to just use these humans, their bodies, to project that to you. And you'll never understand why they just ever don't have compassion or humanity like you. One day they could lose their job too, right? Because exactly, it doesn't matter. The demons will make sure they rarely lose their job. They'll keep them there. Okay? Our enemy is not the human race. It's demons. So even if you don't like religion or demon, okay, then just agree with me. There's something else out there. Otherwise, you're never going to figure it out. Because the human being, it won't make sense to you why they're against simply your right to have a roof over your head. Correct? It doesn't make sense because you know they're human like you. You know morality doesn't necessarily take that away from them, right? Just because they're evil doesn't mean that, right, that they agree with evil. They just do it. They don't think evil is okay. Those are just the times they're lying. Then when they justify making excuses. But we wouldn't call these humans evil like the predators, right? The ones in government. We would say they have some decency. Also, it doesn't make sense why that decency doesn't make them then just leave you alone. Stop acting like some fake God over you. That's the part you cannot resolve. Religion, morality, everything is different among you. So that's why then when you want to segregate from them, they want to have a war. Because they know then exactly, you'll just build your own little beautiful place over there. So then that's when the human race has to come together. And all of you have to work hard to separate these two groups. You come downstairs, these two siblings, the first 50% cause of evil, right? Or crime or chaos. And things that are not evil, but they're just chaos. People just poor. They're not evil. They're not hurting anyone. They're not bothering anyone. Good people have become poor like that. Or this human is evil, but that moment they're not doing any evil conduct. They're just poor. They're just there for chaos. They're in your street. They're everywhere. Okay. It makes it hard for you to go outside and feel safe, correct? Okay. You already fixed that one when you simply, sorry, there was noise and I lost train of thought. This one, right, is going to be resolved when you come up with these ideas, these solutions to give the poor their rights. And no one monitors or controls them, but they're just given the same thing people with jobs have. It's just free until they get to their own finances. You don't charge them anything, but you give them a home that's dignified, just like a rental place. Stop putting them in creepy, weird shelters mixed with each other. Stop treating humans like that, like they don't have the right to have, what did I say? Their own space. Especially since there's two genders. And it's not okay for you to mix them. But yeah, we separate the two genders. I don't care. You don't separate them the way I'm talking about. And then two, the evil ones in that gender will harass the other. So you don't actually want to separate male from female. That's evil again. You just want to give every human their own little space. You don't want some humans, their demons coming to them and teach them creepy things because they've never seen the other gender. Humans need to mix and see each other. When they're already, you get me, you guys have already chosen to be your own group that just wants to go there together. One ethnicity or others mixing with you that you will care for each other. Then it's easy for you to come to agreement of your own laws of punishment for the other 50% of bad stuff in the world and crime and evil. Just evil you cannot necessarily prevent unless you were there. Yeah, you can prevent it, but you have to be there, right? So at some point you are not there, okay, and you have to treat it. They murdered someone, they raped someone, they stole from someone, okay. You just create good justice system. But at least your cities are safe, your roads are safe, your taxi drivers, your Lyft drivers, your airline pilots and staff, the trains. You get me? The places where there's just too many of human beings coming together. Safety is a concern, like the streets. Vehicles versus pedestrians. You make it safe. You make it nice. You give everyone their own space because you got rid of the chaos. No one is just roaming outside for no reason. They either have work, a home, then there's these nice centers and places you built, right? That sort of infrastructure where they can then go and have fun. Now, there's still human beings outside, like security, just making sure the road is safe. You never have a problem if you just want to step out at 12 a.m. Now criminals can't be like, well, they made this place safe all day, but now he and she feel like they can come outside because it's 1 a.m. No. You see what I'm saying? You're making sure the actual places evil happens, right? When you step out of your home, that is basically eradicated from chaos. In any way, any shape or form, a criminal would ever be like, this is too empty and too dark. It's just, that's the part where we get to talk. You get me? I'm just telling you, but there's ideas, obviously. Now humans, even if they want to step out and eat something at 1 a.m., they can. Maybe there's some restaurants that want to work at night. Okay, you make sure the road is still as safe as it was during the day. You still make sure there's people hired around that restaurant, right? Other businesses are open. The roads, there's security. We don't want cops. We don't want people who make people uncomfortable. Just decent security, just decent levels of lower level of security. Not ones that sort of cause people anxiety, like someone with a gun, like an army. No. You know? And at some point, some people might like that. That maybe it's a cop. Okay, if you teach them how to be human, give them structure and policy, make sure they don't just blow their gun at people. Common sense, you get me? Whoever you want to use to keep the road safe, the restaurants, the businesses, the environment safe, you're still then doing that morality again. You're making sure they follow this simple system where there's no extreme aggressiveness, nor is there immoral conduct that they like to call aggressive, which is just violence. That is evil, you know? And everybody can just go outside and they feel safe. Now how are criminals going to feel comfortable to do evil outside? They don't have a space. And they cannot take advantage of the poor. Get it? There's no poor. They're all in their own nice places that took care of them, gave them a home in the meantime, gave them the hygiene needs, the food needs, the transportation needs, the education needs. No one treated them like someone that's on a system, a list, that people need to call you and be like, did you meet me? You didn't have caseworker meeting with me like some God. So God put me through the shelter system to show me how annoying it is. A human is acting like some God over you, like you need to have a meeting with them. You get me? Just give them a place. What do you need? What's your choice of employment? Someone wants a career, someone just wants a job. You just help them get it by just, right? Like enrollment, they do it themselves. You just give them the resource. Like a landlord gives you those documents. Doesn't a landlord check in with you? So of course you have to check in with them to make sure they're not just staying there forever. But it's not caseworker. It's not someone acting like you're some animal they need to train or something. You get me? Just like how a landlord treats you with respect and dignity. It's business. Both of you are treating each other like human beings who are equal, who are dignified, who need to, right, have a business conversation. That's what you need to replace it with. Now, this person is just like someone who's like a student, but there was housing at their university, not the ones now where they mix people. I told you the mixing needs to stop. It's like the way that student graduates. Didn't they have counselors, advisors, teachers interacting with them every now and then in a meeting maybe? Okay, but was it creepy? Was it someone controlling you? Or was it to help you? Did you not have the right to just leave that and still keep your education? If these people say, I don't want to meet the caseworker, they lose their shelter. We don't want nonsense like that. It should belong to them. The housing is theirs until they're out of their poverty. We don't want humans where? In the street. We don't want them in the street. They don't belong in the street. You can't be like, these people are taking advantage of the system. No one will. Don't treat human beings like some objects. I don't care how evil they are. They're human. They don't want to sit there. They would love to have wealth. That's their nature. If you treat them well and you help them have the process to get their wealth, they're not going to be in the street creating chaos. Stop acting like a fake God over them. So stop lying, because that's the demon within humans who like to always say that type of statement or argument. But they're going to do this, but they're going to do that, because that's the system that right now they set up, that demons set up. Humans cannot set this up, goodness. Humans are not this strategic, and they don't hate each other this much. So whoever set up these systems, that someone then would say that to you, oh, people are going to do this, people are going to do that. First, you're insulting people. Who do you mean people? Aren't there good and bad homeless, good and bad, etc.? Humans, obviously. Like that. It's demons who are saying that, because one, spiritually, they're cursing people who are poor. Every time they say that, it becomes a curse. That actually happens more. It attracts those who would do it like that. It's a curse. And then they'll use that to then go to the government and be like, look, it didn't work. Let's control them more. You see? So that's about morality. You guys would fight with that type of mentality using morality. You'd be like, we're human beings. They're human beings. We can't do that to them. But see, those ones are demons. They're not going to use morality with you to shut up. They're just going to say it again and again and again and again and go to war with you. Get it? Okay, so you're never going to get to an agreement. That's not the solution. Okay, I need to get to the point. I've been getting off topic because of these humans walking by. They're evil demons harassing my poor mind. China is advancing because they're not mixed with anybody else. That's the reason. It's that simple. The moment You bring in Hong Kong, maybe, or Taiwan, even though we could say they're the same. It doesn't matter if maybe one ethnicity grew apart, right? Or maybe it's some other ethnicity that looks very similar to them that was mixing with them before, but now, right, demons have caused the rift. The same cycle will happen to them like Europeans versus Africans. Exactly. One group is going to try to act like a god over the other and not advance the country because they're so obsessed stealing from these human beings their human rights. We're going to go to war with you if you don't do this, if you don't do that, because we're the ones in charge. No, what we say matters. If we say this is not your land, then it's not your land. Blah, blah. This will not stop. So do you see how this 50%, this first one is the actual, evil that human beings, if you got rid of, humans really would have the other 50% then disappear slowly over time? You human beings fighting over wealth. You're fighting over land. You're fighting over who owns what. Because God did not create you to come together as one entire group of species in one little country. Nor did He create you to mix too much. He made you into smaller communities so you know one another. There's wisdom in that. You have to become smaller communities. You have to let each other breathe. That person, they want something, you want something. At some point, both might be good. It's just in these situations, usually it's not, right? Evil is trying to act fake dominant over another group, right? So the same way, in your conscience, everyone needs their own home, right? If you're renting, okay, everyone gets their own little, right, apartment that they rent themselves. Like that, you need to apply that to humans like Israel and Palestine, Africans and Europeans, and within the country. Those who already probably think alike and don't have anything against each other's race, maybe, they're still fighting over something. Or maybe they are mixed races like the US, and at some point that racism comes out. Whichever the scenario is because no one is getting their own space because you're trying to force yourselves onto each other. And you're saying, if we don't do this, then we're not loving. We have to mix. No, you don't believe that. So the ones who are saying that are demons. You have to segregate and give each other space. You know that as evil humans. So that's why then you work with demons and you go bomb other countries, continents like Africa. You enslave each other in human history. You enslave others. You abuse them. What is it that you're taking from them? Usually when you go to their country, you usually didn't even want to kill them. You just wanted to take what? Their wealth and their land. So technically, you were fighting over money. That led you to then do a high-level immorality of the act of trying to steal it and then kill and then rape. See, it has no connection. You just wanted money. Why did you kill and why did you rape? Because the other one enters the picture. First, their 50% reason was they actually wanted to kill and rape and steal. They're evil. Okay. But when they then go to a place and pick on a group, what else do they see? Exactly, blessings of other types. Just like life is a blessing. They want to steal people's lives. Someone's honor, right? Their body is a blessing. They want to rape it. So, someone's wealth and blessings that you can actually take with your hand that you can steal is also a blessing. These 3 crimes are the problem. But you're not going to get rid of the first one and the second one unless you get rid of the third one, the smaller one. I know it doesn't make sense. Because when you try to get rid of rape and murder and similar crimes, right, like that, while you're harming someone, they'll fight with you. Get it? They'll go to war with you. They'll create chaos. They'll make you fight each other. That's not the way. You first have to remove them. When they try to come and kill and rape who they can, and the strong human beings that they cannot touch, fight with them, right? And they martyred. What do if they were to ever invade your country and move forward into the land? They steal your blessings and they act like they own it. So then are you going to be like the only way to stop them from now maybe committing rape or murder is to just make them stop doing those 2 crimes or sins? No, right? They live in your land. You stop them from those 2 crimes today, then tomorrow they'll do it again. Okay, you stop them again, then tomorrow they'll do it again. Okay, so what would you think is the only way to get rid of them first? That then would, in default, right, just naturally get rid of the other 2 problems I just told you. Or the other problem, right, the other crimes. You guys call them invaders. What do? You remove them from your land. So you have to first remove them from where they don't belong. Get up from this bench. This is my house. Therefore, this bench, do you see this land? Obviously, like that. First, you have to remove the intruder, the invader from your land, so they don't get to steal your blessings, so they don't get to take your government places, so they don't get to ruin the place. Then heinous crimes that are worse, like rape, murder, huge, right, chaos. Now, because they're gone, those things don't even happen anymore. Do you see what I'm saying? Those who are already living there will try to commit it. But you have the other 50% of evil left now. You got rid of this one that was clouding, right, your ability to just at least live, because that one cannot happen to everybody. Everybody's not going to be killed, right? Like that. You can create a good justice system, and now those 2, you'll punish it. It'll decrease. And one day you might eradicate it perfectly, because you will teach each other what these humans look like, and you'll do your best, correct? Okay, so we're not going to call people who came to this country and other countries where humans are willingly accepting each other as humans, right, and helping each other. People are immigrants, and then they become citizens. No one's calling them invaders. We're saying that psychology over there, right? When demons did that, that's the solution here. When human beings either don't get along, no one's hurting anybody, they just don't get along, they're not, perpetuating evil on each other, or they're actually, one is calling for wicked things like, oh, let's take away women's rights, let's take away abortion rights. That one is saying, well, Africans have no right to be in my country, get out. Okay, racism, when there's actually hatred, and then it's calling for violence and harm of some level, and basically to steal their rights as humans. Okay, and then they're using religion, and they're going to tell you, this is my religion, you can't tell me what to do. No, you can't tell me what to do. See, now you don't know how to stop it, correct? Because they're saying it's my right to be different than you. They're saying you're not their God. That's true. So then now you have to treat them like those siblings who are fighting over something. You easily see it. You separate them into these 2 tables, right? You separated it, or these 2 couches, or these 2 segments of the right living room, for example. Now they have their own space to play, and now they can't fight like that. Okay. This one gets up and tries to kill this one. Well, that's different. Punish this one, you get me, like that. But when they're technically acting like they don't have anything against each other, they don't hate each other, but they really do. There's always going to be an evil human of Europeans that will just not leave Africans alone. They'll just never going to disappear, because I just told you, evil humans don't disappear. But they would respect these people and leave them alone if you separated them and gave them their own little space to play, their own little place to rest. So that's something that it would be disgusting if a European or Asian did that for Africans. They would always then be called animals and losers. And they're going to tell you some of the things you've been told before by other races and your own race that you didn't want to listen to. Not because you don't actually think it's good or fair. No, you agreed with it, but then they brainwashed you into thinking it's just dividing us more. No, it's not. People who said we should segregate were right. It's just the segregation doesn't mean necessarily by race. You get me? It's just whoever gets along. These Chinese, these Koreans, then these Ghanas might really want to build this country together. Okay, go ahead. No one cares. But if there's a group that will not get along, and you can clearly see one ethnic group truly does not like the other, or does not want to mix with the other, right? A mixture of reasons. One, immorality, right, being the reason. And 2, Exactly, just the suffering that one caused them, and they don't want to mix with them. Okay, so they're not immoral in that thinking. They actually just want to be free from them, like that. Don't worry about the reasons. We'll talk about that later. But do they want to mix? No. Separate them. Give this one their own place. Give this one their own place. Now they cannot act like this one, right, can enforce their laws on this one, their religion on this one. So demons know that. So they invade Africa. They destroy it. Now these people scatter the earth. Now they come to other people's places, and the evil ones among them will be like, we're never going to feel comfortable building our own country. We're always going to feel like these people are somehow sharing it with us or stealing. That's why they don't like it when they see you in places where you're buying something, right? Or some hotel or any place of consumerism. That's usually what you get, where you get harassed with racism and sexism too. Oh, as a woman, you can't have this job. Or as a woman, you can't be this customer. You get me? Because they're fighting with you over wealth or land. Maybe they'll be like, you cannot step this sidewalk. It's still in my plot of land. And it's not. It's just a generic sidewalk, you know? So you get me? It's the human beings who know that moment they're not going to try to kill anybody, or maybe they don't have the ability to even try, right? Or maybe they don't want to ever commit things like murder. Then they're going to try to do the other sin that's lower than this one, of still being envious and trying to separate you from your rights as a human. Exactly, wealth and land. They will then say, this stuff, you can't have it. You get me? So if we get rid of this power that they have to do these behaviors, we get rid of all the abilities that allow them to do this to you. Now the only crimes that are left are humans who would try to kill, which is very rare. These ones who harass you like this every day are not murderers. You get me? They just don't want you to have money. So it's easy to decrease criminals then. They're just going to be the heinous ones that are left. But the ones that outnumber them at a huge number are the ones who do small sin, smaller or medium crimes or sin, right? Things you wouldn't kill them for, but it's abuse somebody, hurt somebody. They cut someone out of a restaurant. They call the cops on you. You got kicked out. Like that versus, calling cops on someone because you actually want them to die. Okay, then that's the other heinous one. I just mean a situation where they maybe tell a let's not say cop. Let's say, because really when they call cops, they want you to get killed in the process. Okay, let's say they call the restaurant owner maybe, right? And they just tell them, sorry, they want you to leave or something. And they're like, why? This is my restaurant. Because I don't like this person. They don't belong here. They're not like us. That's sort of nonsense you hear. They do that because they know deep down you agree with them. You don't have your own space. So even without intending to, they know they're just going to get your agreement. They know deep in your soul, you know what they're saying is true on one side, but then the other side is the immoral version of then attacking it. They have something you don't have that God believes all of you should have. So they're trying to make you feel hurt. They're trying to make you feel pain. Get it? In the heart area. By reminding you, you don't get to sit at your own nice little country, your own brothers and sisters and those right other humans of humanity, brothers and sisters who do love each other. You're all mixing. You're all like that. They know you don't have a place where you feel safe like that. So they know they can bully you every day. You can't just be like, that was a crime, that was a bad person, let's move on. No, you know you're going to go home at night and cry about it. Not because you're weak and not because these humans, what they do actually affects us. We're human beings, we're not weak. We don't get affected by dumb, small behaviors. If someone got shot and died, okay, that's a situation because we actually lost somebody. But no one's going to cry and be sad because you said mean things to them. Or, you get me? That's so weird. No, you're crying because you know deep down they had the ability to direct that behavior at you. Because they have an advantage. They have a nice place to live and you don't. You're in their land. Okay, but if you were to have your own land, maybe you're just visiting this one, then it's not going to affect you. But usually humans are in other people's countries because they don't have a place. So then is that other way of abusing somebody for what they don't have? If we give people what they have the right to have, their survival rights, then 80% of crime and harassment and abuse and bullying and discrimination, sabotage, accusations will stop. And many of them are used to lead to the 20%, the murder, the rape, the theft, that's extreme theft, just extreme crimes, you know? That one is so decreased because there's just a few humans who would do that. You get me? But the majority of human beings are bad people. They're not gonna go and kill somebody, but they're gonna harass people all day. They're gonna go to their workplace and psychologically abuse employees as a manager. They're gonna constantly be perverted and constantly try to touch females and say to her, if you know, you report me, I'm gonna get you fired. Now she's gonna lose her survival right. She's in the street. Do you see what's going on? If we get rid of this one, the other ones are easy. But this one, actually, we don't have a choice. We actually have to get rid of this one. And then 3, we actually cannot get rid of the other one first. Because we're not God. We cannot actually prevent people from being shot. We can only prevent things that we know are actually visible to us. You know? If you're in a public place, you can easily stop 2 people from fighting. You'll just go in between. But you cannot stop a gunshot. Correct? Unless you're right next to the person, you try to put it on the ground, right? Fight with them. I mean the idea. When the shot actually first clicks, right? And it goes straight towards someone. Can you stop it? No, you're not God. That's what I mean by stop. So you see what I mean by murder. There's a portion of it that's preventable. And rape also. There's a portion that's preventable. You see some weirdo grabbing this kid or this maybe female or even some males. And they're just trying to, those humans are agreeing to just go with it. They're not fighting. They're not being brave. They're just afraid of death, which is irrational. Rape is worse than death. So that's what I mean by we can prevent it. And then one day we can treat it in a way that, right, it basically disappeared. Because we can treat the humans who usually would agree to being raped, right, because they don't want to fight. We can teach them to fight. We can teach them to choose death over this. Do you see what I'm saying? We can teach people to be brave. We can build things in every single part of society, some metals, something that always lets them grab something and use that as a weapon. We can do anything. That's what technology is for anyway. You might be like, well, how are the humans going to do it? Doesn't God seem unfair if he gives us these ideas, but other humans could? They had their own things. They were more connected. They were smaller communities. Goodness, we're 8 billion humans. There was a time where it was like 1 billion, correct? A few thousand. And they were segregated, a small community. Okay, guys. So you see, when they were smaller human race number, they have their own way of decreasing crime, just like this, that it would actually never even happen. And your whole neighbors would come out. There's nowhere to hide the person. Everywhere is a house. If someone then says, okay, what about the ones harming people in a home? Exactly. Just something in the other house, something in the city, something in the neighborhood. Someone, you get me? They could do things where they see each other always. They check on each other every morning. Someone wakes up, are you okay? Like that. Okay, but we're different. The number is the weapon against us now. There's too many. So technology is what then God gave us to protect each other. Do you see how rational it is? When you have 3 students, do you really need a camera? Because you're just right there, right? But when you have 5,000 students, you probably need to install a camera above that building, correct? Like that. So these systems of development of technology is not random. It's actually connected to God helping us control crime that we, right, would agree is too much now because there's too many humans in the world. And if evil is going to have a huge number among them, there's too much crime happening and evil, even if it's not labeled crime, due to religion and government corruptions, right? Okay, so cameras, security guards everywhere. That's how then we check everything. That we make sure everyone's okay. And then you train people. Psychology of predators, psychology of thieves. But no matter how much cops you put in that downtown, he's going to have problems if there's too many people in downtown. So we still have to, you see what I'm saying? We still have to decrease human beings from going to one city and one country at an extreme number. I'm sure there's many places in this earth that are empty right now that we can use, and a lot of human beings can go there and live in peace like African Americans in Palestine. It is not for you and I to go to war with Israel and go to war with Europeans and be like, who among you is the wicked? Well, I have to kill you. No. Okay? They are fighting over religion. They're fighting over what God said. They're fighting over who's who and what happened in history. We don't have the right to step in and tell them what to do there. Nor do they have that right, just so you know. Palestine can't say this is what happened in history. Where's the evidence? Israel can't say, well, this is what happened in history. You have to believe us. No, where's your evidence? So do you see what I mean? Only religion can fix it. So who's going to fix it? God's leaders. You leave it to them. But you, right? You actual regular humans who cannot have such an answer for them. You don't have the right to make such a decision. You need to be the adults watching these two kids who are annoying as hell. Or one is a victim and the other is the problem. What would you do? You exactly don't focus on their character. You don't care if this one was bad yesterday. You just simply try to see what are they fighting over. Oh, this tablet I gave them, you know? Don't give kids electronics. You give, right? Both of them something better, in this case, right? Each one their own. Just as you don't give two people one snack, you have to give everyone their own little nice lunch box with their nice little meal. It is common sense, I know, but humans can't see things that way because there's too much chaos. The 80% of harassment and crime and bad, evil qualities and characteristics and behaviors in society is clouding your ability to just remember this was the solution. Give them their own little thing. Because then when you say to me, but they're fighting over it, they don't want me to say, so-and-so, you can sit here. Do you see how empty? I want here, this is my spot. And this one says, this is my spot. Why should I move? You see what I'm saying? It's not that hard. God already taught you the solution. As adults, as parents, you already know what the solution is. Except the evil ones, right, who then try to brainwash one, manipulate. We're not talking about evil humans here. We're not talking about every human, how they solve it. No, good people, how they solve it. When these two humans are saying, this one is mine and that one agrees, and he says, or she says, that one is hers, but they're fighting over something simple, okay, you just separate it. You give them another one maybe. But when they're actually fighting over one spot, this is mine, no, this is mine. You tell them, you go over there and you go over there. There's a nice open place over there. And they tell you, I'm not going to that one. This one is mine. They should go to that one. Whoa. We have to then do what? We got to talk to the one that's more reasonable and more moral than the other one. It's not weakness. It's not weakness that the evil one gets to take the spot. I just told you, one day someone is going to kick them out of that place. But for now, there's too much chaos. Your brain is overclouded with these two kids fighting. You can't think straight as an adult. Also, you were not there prior to see who was fighting in their argument, which is then, right, a metaphorical example of you're not there to see who and what happened in history between Israel and Palestine. What happened in history between China and Taiwan, like that. You're too clouded and there's things you don't know and you're not God. You're just trying to help, correct? So exactly, when you talk to the more reasonable one and you say to them, we'll help you, keyword we, not you go over there. No, we, you're actually supporting them. We'll help you over there. We'll find you a place that's beautiful that you can build with your culture and whatever you want. Your own laws, your own thing. This one is crazy and unreasonable. Let's leave this one right now. But why is it? That means no. Relax. No one is saying they have the right to have it. But you have to help us fix this problem. Otherwise, it's never going to stop. They will always defeat you as long as you fight over something that they're never going to give up. Otherwise, there's bloodshed. So no, they're not winning if you go somewhere else. They're losing because that's how they get energy, just like a criminal or a bully. They get energy from that. They get satisfaction from that. They get to have this sort of creepy attachment to you. You're always someone they're obsessed with. If you go somewhere else, you get to create an identity for yourself where they cannot attach themselves to you. Same thing for African Americans. You're not losing anything if you get away from these people who hate you and just the good people, right, of other races and Europeans overall, and Caucasians specifically here who did the slaving. You're not hurting them. You're not against them. You're not calling them bad. You're just doing what's best for you. You need your own place, your own space, your own little land. Your ancestors tried to do that. Don't ever forget. They had the wisdom to always try to segregate from them within this country. They had their own little places. Each time it was burned down. Many of them tried to run away. Do you get what I'm saying? Humans are wise. But you guys have some trauma attachment to these demons who make you do the same dumb things. Some humans are smart and they're not like that. So we have to give them credit because you're failing. How many people every day within their own country, like Italians, right? Puerto Ricans, right? Other Europeans, like Germans. How many of them do you see every day leaving their beautiful countries? There's no problem. No one's telling them to leave. There's no racism. There's just some economic problem. So you agree they can stay and fix it, right? It's not something dangerous like racism that can lead to war or death. Exactly. And they still immigrate to wherever they are appreciated and wherever there is peace. There's too much cloudmen right now. They can't think straight. There's too much evil over there and there's too many numbers of them. So they're just doing what's smart for them now. They're getting away. They're moving away. Even from a criminal, when you step away from them, you can think better now. Because they get to project their own feelings and thoughts to you that they're acting dominant over you if you just move away. They always want you to think stopping them and fighting with them is somehow the only way to be in the right side, right? Because righteous people would always have the area, right? Humans are not dominant over each other. Only God is dominant. But in terms of dominance, good is dominant, right? Evil is weak. Okay. So they want you to think whether you're good or evil. If you're in the victim state, that you're giving them dominance if you don't somehow fight with them. No, what happened now? The 20% of other evil. Right? Which earlier we were calling 50%. Murder and rape and theft. No. We cannot deal with that. We cannot. Because we care for you, we don't want you doing something dumb that leads to that. And that's exactly what they want. Just like those types of psychopaths that always harass you verbally, you can easily move away, but then they project these emotions to you and thoughts that you're weak if you move away. You should punch them in the face or you should say something. And if you do that, you go to jail. But even if the jail system cared about you, right, and they're like, they deserved it, okay, fine. Okay, so the jail is not going to be the problem. But still, you just wasted your energy on them. You get in their face, you fight with them. What if now they shoot you? Do you see what I'm saying? I just want you guys to see your enemy is not human. Because if you think it's human, then you're always going to think your natural, correct thing to do is to fight with them. Exactly, because it just seems righteous. It just seems logical. This belongs to me, you get off. You get me off my stuff, you know? But if you realize it's demons, then you're going to be like, what's the point? The point is they have a different psychology. They don't get to suffer. Their bodies don't die. They're mortal right now. They're going to die soon. So in their mind, you have a short life. There's two things that can ruin or hurt your life. The 50% of evil, which is right, harassment, abuse, sabotage, chaos, poverty, economic collapse, fighting, just, okay. And then the other 50%, heinous crimes like murder, rape. Right? We also put racism there, sexism there. You get me? So exactly, you are the one with a short life. You are the one who has to say to themselves, I just need to look out for my interest. And I can't do it alone. That's what we call cops. Not because we're stupid and we can't beat someone up, right? That is evil that moment. It doesn't matter their body size. I just told you. Evil humans are weaker than good people. And that moment, two evil humans fighting each other, the victim one is always stronger than this one. So evil is always weaker. It's not about body size or gender, okay? So the only humans with strength are moral, righteous people. You're strong. It's not about body size, okay? Just like animals, you've seen with your own eyes, there's no such thing as body size. This one beats that one, okay? So this nonsense word that just attacked your head when I said beat, get it out of your head. That's demonic. That tries to project you, you're fake dominant over somebody. You can just beat it. No. If someone is more moral than you, you can't touch them. Do you understand? It doesn't matter how skinny they are. That's why morality is the only thing that separates you. They're stronger than you, okay? So you have to always think, what's best for me, man? What do I need? I need to wake up tomorrow and not have to lose my life. I need to wake up tomorrow and not have any stress, any chaos, because that evil human has to share something with me, and they get to always, basically invite me to violence, or invite me to chaos, or invite me to this, or invite me to a group over there, and I'm just me. And the group behind me is either disorganized, fighting each other, or they hate me, they're jealous of me. We're so weak compared to them in the group dynamic. And they get to then steal from us. Wait a minute, they project those emotions to us that they're somehow dominant, or they're acting dominant, or that we're giving them dominance if we don't fight with them. Because that's actually what they want us to do. They want us to fight with them. Because it's not the psychology of evil versus good, where yes, good would fight with evil and kill it. This is not that one right now. Oh, this one is more like that bait or that distraction before an actual attack. They just want to distract me from who the real enemy is. It's a demon that really wants to make me always poor as a huge ethnicity or huge race or a gender. We're always on the lower side. If we don't do what's best for us, if the ones who think alike, who truly care about our human rights, if we don't come together and go somewhere better, that we can build better lives, and then now others get to watch and copy us. And even if we not want to mix, if our future ancestors mess that up and they start to fight, we're not responsible for that. Because we still human beings, we love each other, we want to mix. But okay, at some point maybe it's better for us not to mix for a certain period of time, because we need to have some time to think. There's too many. There's too much chaos. The evil ones of all those other races and ethnicities have mixed with me. And I'm the only one who's good. Therefore, they are going to ruin us. We have the right to then separate from them, this time based on more like a race type of thing. Not racism, right? But we actually have to identify who we're separating from, because the majority of them are targeting us. So our intention matters, therefore. And since our intention is pure, no one is racist here. We're not committing a sin. We're leaving. They're not some sort of attachment to us. We have our own body and life. Well, why would there be anything wrong with us if we want to separate from them? When did God tell us that they own us or something? Okay, so since they don't own us, why is it a sin for me to separate from them? Why does it matter? We were already separated at birth, at the time of Adam and Eve. It's okay. We already naturally separated after Adam and Eve. Because that's just what's better. Because we get to know each other. Because we're smaller communities, but also similar. So that now that we built a good society, good laws, we help the other human beings who are brothers and sisters in humanity have their own land also. Instead of inviting them to join us because we're good and they're good. No, then they're still going to feel those horrible emotions. They have nothing and we're somehow on a high side. That we have something they don't have. They're always going to feel like we have status and they don't. And that's not a sinful thing. That's true. We really do have something they don't have that they all should have. That everyone should have, which is their own space. So that feeling is not wrong. Therefore, since I believe I should have my own space, why would I, just because I'm loving, call them to join me? No, I should help them have their own space if I love them. Because what I have that makes me feel so happy, feeling safe, right, from others. They don't get to attack my home. I have my own. If I love someone, then I would give them what I want for myself and what gives me peace. Correct? I would give them exactly what I have. So let me give them their own space. And then, now, if they and I have a mix, back and forth into each other's countries or cities, or it's only from a place of really the only time God intended for us to actually mix and not segregate, which is that love. Hey, you want to visit us? Look what we built here. Whoa, what is that? I've never seen that before. God gave you this idea. Wow. But do you remember what we built over there? Where? Which one? Okay, let me follow. That's it. Just like two siblings who love each other with their own homes. You would never tell your sibling to live with you. You know that's evil. You have a home. You have that status. You get to have that cool key in your big house. What? the hell? Why are you telling your homeless sibling to come live with you? Give them a home. Help them. Now they get to visit you. You get to visit them in that only way that God told you to mix with each other. From just the same way these two siblings would visit each other. Love. Not so that one is somehow enabling or teaching the other to be attached to you. As if you're some sort of one in charge. You're the main figure here. You get to have it. And they get to just live with you. You know that's wrong. You know they're equal to you as a human and they have the right to have what you have. So just as you would, right, always try to help your sibling get their own job, that's the same thing that good Europeans need to do for Africans, that human beings overall need to do for Africans. That, right, Africans need to help each other with, understand and do for themselves. Get your own place. You're not from the European race and you're not from their continent. So don't be like, I built this place. Okay, but it's not your place. You don't belong here. You belong in Africa. So stop fighting with them over something that doesn't belong to you. It's only from a place of love and two groups wanting to mix that people should mix. You shouldn't be forcing yourself on people. What the hell is wrong with you? The evil ancestors enslaved you. So you shouldn't love these people that way. You should just love them the moral way, right? You just love the good people among them. But that sort of creepy attachment you have to them where you just think they're your people or you... Whoa. That's what victims have to abusers. That's demonic. There's no reason for you to love this race. They abused you. Hello? You just love all good human beings. And you don't like the evil ones. You're just with them, okay. But you hate evil human beings. So the point is, exactly. Stop lowering yourself to less than an animal. Even animals go and build their own little place. You act worse than animals. Stop it. You Palestinians, all of you who are fighting with someone else, who seems to have the upper hand. Either the place doesn't really belong to you, like African Americans are not from here. This is not your place. Stop fighting with people over and saying it's yours. But for some people, that due to history, we don't even know. We don't know who should be in that place they keep fighting over, like Israel versus Palestine. Well, you, the victim, need to leave. Because these ones are not human. They're predators and they're trying to always kill you every generation. So you're dumb if you stay. You're not smart. Just as you would never tell someone who's being beaten to death to hold on to some purse, because, right, the purse is so valuable, or their house, you laugh at them. You say to them, you gotta be kidding me. When they're talking to you and they say that's a good idea. But when you see it literally, you'd cry and be like, what's wrong with you? Why are you dying? God gave you the choice to get up and move away and leave the purse behind. It's not as valuable as your life and your honor. One day you'll come back and take your purse or you'll buy another one. Get away from this murderer. It's the same psychology. No Palestinian or African American or Africans overall would fight with what I just said. If it was a personal to personal situation, one human abusing the other. Telling you, haha, you don't ever want to leave here because you're useless. You're obsessed with us. You're attached to us. You can't build your own little hut over there. That would anger you if it was person to person. You would go build your own little hut over there. So you see what I'm saying? When people are victimized like that and they have become so weak like that, the strong ones from their own ethnicity and race and the strong ones, which I'm talking about moral people, they're the only ones who are strong. And the strong ones from other races, right? So the good people from Europeans, Asians, Africans, all of you need to come together, convince these people, get out of these places. There's this beautiful place on the earth that no one inhabited. Join us. We'll work with you. We'll build it. Stay there in the meantime. Get away from the chaos. Relax for some time. Take a break. There's history and religion and all this stuff mixed with it. We can't fix it for you. We're not God. Just we want your safety. Come over here. Now, you can take care of each other because you don't hate each other in that way. If others like us love you, well, help us and we'll help you build our own places too. Let's all have our own space. That love should not mean we should infringe on each other's basic privacy and human rights of everyone having their own space. That love just means we're there for each other. But we all need to have our own space. Even spouses need to have their own boundaries and space. The only way you would never have space or boundary between each other as a species is if one is an object and the other is a living being. So as long as we agree we're all living and none of us are objects, none of us can mix 24/7. None of us can always get along 24/7. We have to segregate. The segregation might be temporary or permanent. And the intention matters. It always needs to come from a moral place. No one's telling you to segregate from a place. If they hurt us, let's run away. No. It's just so you recoup and think about it and fix your life. Because you're human, they're human. Your basic human right is what they're stealing from you. That's not normal for you to sit there and fight with them. You're acting like there's some God over you. As if you can't just leave. What if it was vice versa? What if when Adam and Eve, God created them? Instead of Africans taking over wherever now the African continent is, what if it was Europeans who lived there? You get me? No one actually owns this earth anyway. So you guys can't even be like, okay, we get what you're saying. But Europe belongs to me. I'm European. Oh, yeah, and Africa belongs to me. I'm African. So don't you dare step in my Africa. No, you're doing it again. This earth doesn't belong to us. It belongs to God. So at whatever point in history, right, those humans, just due to natural laws of nature and their own decision-making and sometimes evil, forced them to go to A location and that group went to B. Don't then attach yourself to it in an evil way, right? In an evil way. Yes, attach yourself to it, but not in an evil way where you act like you can't ever choose some other location. It's okay. And the evil way of acting like others can't visit you, it doesn't belong to you like that. Okay, but the good way would be for you to obviously protect yourself when evil ones want to come to your land and be like, well, you said God owns this earth. That means we can just visit you. We can just enter your country. Well, that's now evil. Intention matters. No, it's your land. It's your continent. This specific ethnicity. This is your place. Only from a place of love, you invite one another. You welcome one another. You let each other live among each other equally and stop, right, alienating the other. But then don't do the other evil of giving them exactly the same rights as you who actually is in that country. Because then, okay, the evil ones among them will then start to own your land now at a high number. Maybe they'll buy all your property. They'll take over the government, and then now you'll be pushed out of your own land. Do you see what I mean by we need boundaries? Do you see why I just said spouses need to have boundaries? The most intimate relationship. Do you see what I mean? It's because the creation of God, each individual needs to have their own space. Each has their own human rights. So you cannot mix the whole human race and be like, this is human right. You can't. Because then the evil one will come in and tell you what they believe is human right, which is evil. They're going to then act like it's all of us are human right also and try to force it on us. You guys need to be smart. Each of us, get it? The individual have human rights. Aha. So then for that reason, that evil male over there cannot say because he's a species among us. He cannot say, right, because he's human like that female. He cannot say because it's his human right that children should live or whatever, then he can take this female's right away because it's human right. And she's, whoa. See? He's making human rights seem like a group thing. No, human rights is an individual thing. Every human, the individual, has human rights. Get it? The right to live, the right to not be dishonored in their body, which is rape and molestation and perversion, basically, when I say dishonor. The right to have their own space, their own blessings, their own things God gave them. You can't take it from them. It belongs to them. The right to be protected by the group when one is bullying them. You cannot come here and say, we have a generic human right as a species, and your interpretation then has to take this one. There we go again. Did we not just say the evil one does that? Did we not just say they come and take other people's rights by saying this is their opinion? You're doing the same thing as a sexist male. No, she has her own individual human rights. So that means every female on this earth actually has her own human rights. You can't touch her body. You can't harm her. You cannot force something filthy you put in her through rape into her body. That's not a child. It's not her child. It's your filth. It's not even your baby or child. It's filth. And we kill it. See? Yes, exactly what you think someone would say. That type of aggressiveness. That's actually what God thinks. Whatever you keep calling sin is actually correct. Don't you dare think you're going to get away with the ways that you have been literally manipulating the human species into that sort of anxiety of God being hateful to people who say such things. Because, at some point, maybe it would become a human also. You're not coming there with us. When a human comes here normally, then they have the right to live. When they are taking away her human rights and killing her, your filth entering her, that's not a human. It needs to go. And we're not going to go to war with you to make you understand. That's exactly what I came to teach them. They will not fight with you as women, and they will not fight with you as Africans, and they will not fight with you as a human who's good. We're going to segregate all of you. We're going to bring the good together. The good will build what they need to build. Everyone's going to have their own space. So that other good person over there, one day is not at a disadvantage. When this good neighbor who welcomed them from any race or any ethnicity or the other gender, when they die and their time is up, their evil children don't get to abuse you now and be like, get out of my land. Remember my father gave you this place? You never had this place earlier, so get out. They can't say that to you. You have your own space. Their father helped you get your own space when you were vulnerable. And if it was vice versa, you were supposed to do the same thing for them. Now you have your own land, they have their own land. You're only there together in their country or your country because of just common human visitation. Love. We visit each other out of love. I'm going to end it here. This is too long. But just understand, there's a reason why one country is evolving like China and the rest are not. And some are dying and being destroyed as a whole continent like Africa. Because over there, the demons are there using the wicked Africans and they're destroying it. It's not that hard. We just need to stop them. We need to separate some of them from the others. But in these places where the actual place is civilized and decent, and you would think then whoever joins them would also become wealthy, but they cannot seem to have it, it's because then that other group you're mixing with is the problem. We need to separate you from them. You go where you belong. We build you a new place if you have nowhere. No one's going to tell you to go to Africa, okay? If we build you your own place, a place you actually like to be in, and you're like, well, that other ethnicity or that other race loves me. Can we mix? Hell no. You need your own house because they have their own house. Do you agree? Love each other as neighbors. Go outside and have a nice soccer game. But you both need to have your own home and some fences in between. Because none of you is dominant over the other. One is not an object and the other is living. That slave mentality is killing you all. I will kick that out of your brain. Do you understand? And the demons who possessed you and taught you this, and obviously then that means they're possessing your bloodline. The kids who are not even born, they're already possessing them. We're going to kick them out. Because when the truth comes, which is that religious revolution, what does that mean? I'm going to get demons out of your bodies, out of the bloodline. Because we're going to stop the curse they put on the race, the ethnicity, the gender, that keeps making the weak ones of that group always go after the well-being of the rest. Become predators. They chose hell. Instead of them dying with their decision, they want to take other people's blessings away. And then they work with others who are different to go after their own brothers and sisters. Losers like that. Whoever wants to repent, they'll repent. But they're going to be punished severely. They're going to be that 50% that needs to be punished. Their crimes are heinous. But this first 50%, that only comes out when a society is poor or struggling, or there's some economic or political issue or religious disagreement, which then, there you go, would involve sexism, perversion, and racism. Get it? Because you're fighting over religion. What's right and what's wrong? Morality is the issue. So you guys are going to die if you tell me, okay, we'll we'll try to figure it out. No, you can't. Because evil, are you ever going to get along with an evil human if you're a good person? What are you saying? They're not confused people, goodness. Are they just telling you two good things and they just want A and not B and both are good? No, they're telling you B and they're telling you A is wrong and B is actually evil. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. They're calling you to self-harm and they're telling you to let them harm you. We're not doing this. So one has to be kicked out. But because we're not evil ourselves, we don't want bloodshed, we're going to separate you. You better prepare yourself for whoever God created to help you, to tell you the basic things you've been told all your life. Religion gets corrupted. So is your time. And you're going to segregate. But this time you're segregating based on character, morality. And others are going to segregate based on race, ethnicity. You have to segregate so you have your own house. Your own little shade. Now you can think straight. You can focus on yourself. You can build yourself up. Your cities are clean. There's no poor people. You are the poor people. Get it? You build systems making sure it doesn't happen again because you remember what it was like. You're not going to develop arrogance again. You're not going to alienate them and make every human who you label normal just the one with a job. There's no such thing anymore. Everyone will be treated as a human from now on except predators. And then, now you get to talk. Now you get to talk about what you want to believe in your religious values. You still want to be nasty, sexist, perverted, predatory to each other as Muslims? You don't want to ever come against this filth in your religion, that's corruption? Well, then you'll just die again as an empire. I can't save you when I die. But I at least did my part. Others will probably remember what I taught them, and they'll stop you again and remind you. Hello, females over there. You can come here. Oh, there's good males over there who don't like the filth. You join us. You guys should get married to each other. The sexist ones should marry the sexist ones. We cannot stop you. We can only tell you to stop and call you away. But if you won't change, you mix with each other. Leave these ones alone. You're going to segregate. Now, no one can control you. Who's going to control you? The only things that are left for good people who truly believe in what I'm telling you are just those other 50% of crime, the things like murder and things like that, that will continue to happen, but you're going to prevent it because I'm going to teach you smart ways to prevent it. You're going to give me ideas because all of you have gifts and we're all going to come with great ideas using whatever civilization we live in, the advancements God gave us, the ideas, the creativity. You who always had great ideas, but you can never have it be used. Get it? Because your governments are in charge. They're acting like fake God, fake dominant over you. They get to make laws. Okay, but finally, the ones in the actual society, the actual humans who, right, all of you have your own blessings who are good people. I'm talking about good. The ideas you had that could have saved your country, but you can't, right? Because what that group is acting like the fake God, right? You're going to now take over. There is no one repeating these cycles in your country, wherever we took you to anymore, or wherever you stayed, and we fixed your problems because we also got rid of that quality in governments where they have so much power. It's just going to be a place where humans help each other to get justice. It's no longer going to be a place where you have to respect somebody. Sir, ma'am, all this nonsense. It's going to be from a place of morality. Brotherhood and sisterhood, you just do the right thing. You help each other. That person comes to stop you from this murder. Oh, but not because they're a status. Not because they're a sir. Not because they get to do it and not you can defend yourself. That superiority they have is going to be destroyed. So then government will just be like any other place in society you don't feel scared to go. Because you know no one's going to act fake dominant over you. They're going to be a normal place where you guys just come together. You just help each other. Versus one place with one group that seems to control the cycle of the others, what they get to experience. And then in your religions, you're all going to agree on the good and leave the bad. But at that time, you don't even have to worry about scripture because the truth is coming. Those then who say they're going to follow the evil religions they have now, the evil in it, instead of leaving the evil and only following their good, because they will fight over who to worship. We can't make someone believe God is, this way and not that description. That's about their heart. That's about the truth. But when whoever God uses to help you, such as me, when we are no longer here, and now good people will also not believe in God's religion because they don't know who God is. So even good people will not worship him at some point, because that aspect of believing this is who God is has nothing to do with their morality. It has to do with knowledge. If they don't know, then they might actually worship a fake God over there. But morality, yes, they have that. They'll never tell you evil is good. You don't mix them with the wicked doers. So we're also going to get rid of the devil calling good people who don't want to just simply worship the true God because, ignorance, they don't know. We're not going to let demons call them kafir and kufar and evil and kill them anymore. Or annihilate them. As long as they're good. They're good. They're always going to go to paradise. God will just deal with their sin, that it wasn't intentional. Those indirect sins. God will deal with it. That's why usually a lot of them suffer extreme pain and disease before they die. Usually. That's one of the ways God is helping them pay for their sin. Because they're not actually saying, I don't want to worship God. They don't know who he is. It's ignorance. You cannot make them believe. Only God can. That's between them and God. But morality, how you get to treat yourself and a human, animals and pests in this earth, well, that's about you being evil or good. That's about morality. So whoever is on the moral side, whoever doesn't want filth in their religions, you just want a normal, healthy life. Your marriages are actually marriage and not filth and perversion and rape and weird in this religion and other religions. You're actually normal. Well, you're going to always remember what I taught you and what others in the future will teach you. You're going to always bring good together, and you're going to live very well among each other, regardless of religious differences. Regardless of ethnic or racial differences, you're always going to remember good should mix. You're not going to try to fight with the evil ones. You'll let them go somewhere else. You cannot force them. Just because what they're doing is evil, you cannot stop them from just going over there and calling their nasty, filthy rapes and all that stuff, them calling it marriage. These females who allow it, you can't save their soul. You can only be an example and go over there and mind your business and be the good you are. If they want to change, they will. If they don't, they're going to go to hell. It's between them and God. Why you care? But you're not going to let them take away your rights. You're not going to let them mix just because you're in the same religion, same race, same ethnicity. You're not going to let them take away your human rights. Get it? Something individual that belongs only to you. You're not going to let them act like just because they're a group with you based on some sort of characteristic or quality that then somehow they're with you. They're meshed with you or something, as if you're not a person of your own. As if you are not a living being with their own greatness. And the evil ones destroyed their greatness. So they don't have it because they became evil. But originally, you all had your greatness. That's something no one can mesh with you and mix with you and have it with you. No, you get to have yours, they get to have theirs. Immorality destroyed it. Not worshiping a false god, because some are doing that because they don't know. It's a sin. But exactly, if it's intentional. If they don't know, then it's like that indirect sin. God will be just with them. Don't worry. He will not put them in hell with those wicked ones who actually didn't want to worship their Lord. They're brothers and sisters to you. Join together, help each other. Each of you build each other your own homes and lands, and stop asking one to join you. You Europeans, stop asking African Americans to do that. Give them their own space. Give them their own land. Ask them to go somewhere else. Let them get the support they need. Let them go somewhere else. They're not supposed to mix with you, and they never can ever break this cycle. If I'm already here to help you, and you guys haven't already resolved this as a human race, you haven't resolved the issue with African Americans, you haven't, These people are still going through the same curses of their ancestors. They have nowhere to go. They don't have their own. Don't you dare say Africa. Africa is a continent. Everyone has their own ethnicity. That ethnicity has their own little land. Where they got to go? How dare you say they should go to the continent? The continent is like you saying that person should go to that city. Everybody has their own house and their own apartment complex. Everyone has their own unit in that apartment complex, correct? So you can't just tell someone who's homeless to just go there because people over there live there. See how dumb it is? Unless there's a vacant unit for them. There's nothing vacant for them in Africa. Everywhere is taken. We need to find them a place. They're not going to fight with you. They're human beings. When they say things that you would think they don't want that, it's because of trauma. It's fear. It's hurt. Some European could have come to them, given them this great idea, and they could have fought with them. Good people will not. The bad ones of the group who's being abused will fight with them and be like, you don't get to tell us what to do. You don't know our pain. It's a demon who said that. Why would someone who just wants to help you, why would you hate them? You take the help. When you're homeless, do you tell someone, I don't want your help? If they have good intention? No, you only push off the creep, right, who's trying to take advantage of you. So African Americans are human. Why would they intentionally do evil to themselves? Exactly. No one would. It's only the evil human who doesn't honor themselves. So that's why I said we need to separate you based on your morality, good versus evil, not religion, not race, not gender. Who's good, who's bad? Okay, then when we separate you, you actually think normally. Then we're going to separate you from the group that's abusing you. We don't mean the human race, just the group that's abusing you and others who would. We're going to give you your own space. Not because if they were good to you, then separating you from them would not happen. No, separating you from them is the actual thing that should have happened because you're all individuals. All of you are supposed to have your own house. Yes? Your own families. Yes? That's what they're stealing from you. And they traumatized you, made you become evil to yourself. So yes, you're committing a sin against yourself. It's wrong. You're not some little poor baby. You're actually doing bad to yourself when you act like you're supposed to live in their country or live in this country or blah, blah, blah. Or that if you segregate from them, you're actually the one perpetuating racism. What the hell is wrong with you? They're not your race. Why is it racism to separate from them? Racism means hating somebody, abusing somebody, not separating from them. We were already separated. That's normal. What's wrong with you? What they do is racism. But you having your own space doesn't mean you disconnect from the good ones among them. They'll still be your neighbors. We're just going to give you your own space, something you obviously want. You just think it has to be here, maybe. Maybe it's not going to be here. Maybe we'll find some great, beautiful place for you on this earth. Now you get to be just like the other ethnicities. You get to have your head held up. Do you not want your head to be held up? Do you not want your head to rise like Chinese? The way they feel like this is my land. I don't need your America. Isn't that what they say? You need the same feeling no matter who you are as an ethnicity. You all need your own place. Okay, but then if an ethnicity starts to fight, the evil ones are not stealing from the others. They're right to... It's okay at some point to separate them also. You might be like, what if the devil attacks us so much we keep separating? That's not possible because it already belongs to an ethnic group. So no one can ever tell an ethnic group this place doesn't belong to them. All they can do is do evil to you. You'll figure it out by exactly eradicating the problem more easily this way. But when we have two different groups who actually don't look alike, that's when we really have to also key in the segregation because it's not really about exactly let's fix their problem. What are they fighting over? Or one is abusing the other. This one is good. No one's fighting with this weird one. This time is actually because you actually don't own it. It doesn't belong to you. And they're using that. They're using that. And we have to respect that. That's true. Normally, if you were not enslaved, you wouldn't be here. Stop it. Stop acting like you're giving them power. I'm sure when Africans enslaved, the evil Africans enslaved, right, Europeans, didn't they use Europeans to build some part of the earth too? Are they now fighting these ancestors of Europeans? Are they saying to you, our ancestors built that place in China. We have to go back to China. No, they're being smart and they stay where they belong. They only go to other people's countries from a place of companionship, from a place of travel, from a place of exactly they're welcome. But that's not their land. If someone says there's some war or some problem or they're not welcome, they always have a place to go back home. You don't have a place to go back home. So don't fight with this. Don't fight with the good that God sends you. Stop connecting yourself to your ancestors. Many of your ancestors are actually better than you, because a lot of you right now, the majority of Africans are evil human beings. You're the ones that people call monkeys. Everywhere I go in this country and everywhere in the world, you're usually the ones committing crime in the road. You already are creepy and perverted and nasty as children and teenagers. You're all over the cities committing terror. Of course, the human race will hate you now for actually logical reasons. Who's going to invite you? You'll be pushed from place to place. I came to stop the cycle. You're African, okay? And we want to give you a different name, because we're not going to call you African American. That's weird. Because the whole race is called African. Let's give you a beautiful country, a beautiful name. And that country's name now becomes yours. What if we lose history? Who cares? Do you know how many billions of centuries we've all been here as a human race? If I go back to my ethnicity, go all the way back to Adam and Eve when they were first created, how many things of that history do I right now have any knowledge of? I don't. Does that mean then I lost myself? No, I get to create my own history because I'm in this civilization, this time. So stop connecting yourself to your ancestors in an evil way. Just as knowledge and history is lost, there are times that Mexicans went through what you did. There are times that other African ethnicities went through what you did of a specific kind, because I don't think every African ethnicity, right, had someone come out of them as a slave. I believe they only went to certain places. So it's possible some Africans didn't even have some of their people become slaves. It doesn't matter. Sooner or later, as a species, right, every single one of our races and then the ethnicities all had that experience of exactly their way back ancestors being abused in a way or having some great history, some great thing they did. But right now, are their children in this lifetime, 2024, do they have knowledge of it? And when they don't have knowledge of it, does that sort of destroy that? Does that destroy that history? No, it doesn't. My goodness, you're literally on this earth for how many billions of years? Since Adam and Eve, that's a long time. Stop mixing yourself with those people in the past. They have their own time, their own history, their own suffering, their own blessings, their own greatness. It's because you keep attaching yourself to them the evil way that you don't get to create your own success, your own civilization, your own greatness, your own blessings that God gives you. What's wrong with you? Do you actually know why they succeeded in human history? Human beings of any ethnicity. Why? If we go back in their time, why they had some greatness? Because each time that sort of group was alive and they're all adults and can do something, they observed each other that moment, what they are blessed with, and they did something with it. They built empires. But if they were like, my forefathers built that empire, so I cannot lose my connection with them, I have to build the same empire as them, we would not advance. Because you all think you have to build those places like Egypt, those sort of sandy-like buildings. But how are you going to then use technology when someone taught you, hey, I have this great idea, everybody, look at this. And they're the first person to come up with technology. Something right like that. You would all shut it down because you're saying, I need to be like my ancestors. I'm losing their history. Let it go. You in your own country can always have your history. Your schools teach that you are African Americans. No one cares. Do what you got to do to maintain your story. But you're not those people. You didn't go through slavery like them. Stop connecting yourself to them. It's something you like to do because you have the most harmful demons in you. The most evil demons, I believe, are in you. Because you're the only part of the human race that doesn't develop. Everybody develops, but you. Because you have the worst demons. And that's because they make you attached to your abusers. You don't hate your abuser. You don't have that healthy justness with them. Where exactly you just treat them morally, these Europeans. But you just mind your business. You're obsessed with them. If Africans gave you a help, you'd probably be like, we don't want your help. My European brother got me. He's not your brother. Do you understand me? That morality of human beings being brothers, don't flip it and bring it here where it doesn't belong. You're separate for a reason from their race. You need to have boundaries as races, ethnicities, genders, relationships, and individuals and other species. God created boundaries so that everyone is maintained in their smaller groups. And then as a larger group, no one infringes on the other one. They don't infringe on the group that's smaller, their rights, and they don't infringe on the individual human, their human rights. Now who's going to infringe on another species, their rights? Who's going to go after animals and be like, let's do this to them? You don't believe it for yourself. It affects morality. So that's why they make you obsessed with them. And obsessed with those people, sadly, who were slaves. They want you to always say that's who you were. You don't say you were the Africans who enslaved Europeans in the past. You don't connect yourself to those ancestors. You don't connect yourself to the Africans of Adam and Eve way at the beginning. Why are you obsessed with these ones only who were enslaved? Because it's a trauma. That creepy trauma attachment. Demons taught you. They made you think that's the only way to have some status. Have some sympathy. Have something. Because you don't have anything, get it? You don't have any greatness. You don't have anywhere to go. Everyone hates you, including the Africans feel uncomfortable with you. They don't hate you, but uncomfortable. Because right now, if you observe someone who misbehaves in a classroom or environment, a city, a street, if other people feel uncomfortable and unhappy, are they evil and immoral? No, you're disorderly, right? That's how the Africans feel about you as African Americans. You're disorderly because you don't use your mind like every other ethnicity in the human race. You don't stop being obsessed with abusers. You don't want to build your own thing and take our advice, including the advice of some of the human beings who came out of their abusers, the good people of Europeans. You don't want to listen. You just want to do the same thing. This is my country. Even though you're homeless for 40 years and you died as a drug addict. Listen to people and observe the human race. They all immigrate and get out and do their thing. They build empires. What's wrong with you? So, of course, people are uncomfortable with you because you're actually doing something wrong. They're not bad and racist and mean, and Africans didn't abandon you. And when you go to their country, instead of helping them and improving with them, you run away because you feel like there's a problem there. Well, then don't go there. You're not ready to be helping. Leave them alone and stop hurting them. They're already hurt. You were supposed to uplift him and her. You don't have the strength because you're weak yourself. Instead of going to some other place, you usually go to Europe. You're obsessed with these human beings who you call white. See, it's a trauma attachment, the evil. Because you don't feel safe with Asians. You don't feel safe with Mexicans. You don't feel safe with Africans. You don't feel safe with anybody except these humans. You don't even feel safe with other Europeans like who knows, Britain. You're obsessed with these ones. That's creepy. That's disgusting. That's weird. And until you admit that, just like if it was an individual situation, someone here was enslaved and abused and kidnapped for 20 years by this creepy human. And then they had, ran away or whatever. And then they had children, right? You would agree with me. Those children, when they grow up, it's creepy for them to constantly talk how good it was that their parents were in that creepy household. And be like, we're stuck there. That's our house. We have to always live in their city. Because my mom and dad were there. What the hell is wrong with you? You get away from it. It's trauma. So you can have an identity that's actually good and clean and safe and pure and moral for you. And the human race looks at you and says you have your own thing. You have your own blessings, your own status, your own greatness, your own abilities. You have your own culture. The culture comes from them. These evil Europeans taught you. That's why even in the hip-hop industry and entertainment, all you do is nasty, 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 nasty. You're the most nastiest Africans on the human race. All the evil humans in Africa cannot match up to how evil you are. Because for them, it's from a place of criminality. There's some weirdos among them. Poverty is put on them as a curse. So they're cursed. But you actually have resources. You actually have some money you can get at some point. Some of you have had some money. You don't want to help the others. A lot of you have gone to some nice countries and you don't ever want to learn, observe, and call your people to something. You just want to mix them with these humans, the children of the abusers. Why are you obsessed with them? If you want to be like, well, it's just love. We just love the good ones today. Then you love everybody. You don't love everybody. You're obsessed with these creepy ones. You to good. Maybe it's that race today. Okay. I'm not talking about when you're being called to good. You're not having an attachment. to human beings of different races and then your own race at a healthy balance. You're just stuck with one group that enslaved your forefathers. That's not love. That's creepy. Okay? So lastly, Africans, since they're different, since they've actually been abused, but then two, even if you're not, they need to relearn things that the other races haven't lost. Those races lost it in past history, yes, but not now. Because, right, demons attack humans at different times. At some point in human history, one race was down and another was wealthy, like that, okay? So at each point, someone's, right, having something the other... It's about morality. Evil attacking people, stealing from them, okay? There's nothing wrong with anybody. Only evil humans are the problem. But a race, there's nothing wrong with it. Okay. We need to teach Africans. I need to teach you as a race in a way that it actually enters your DNA. Because you're all going to die. I don't care about you adults right now. Your children are going to repeat this. This is a curse. I need to teach you to a point that enters your DNA. To always pick yourself first over other races. Except in situations of morality, right? Your race is doing evil maybe at a high number. There's good people over there, or there's just victims. Of course, you're going to go to their side. We're not talking about morality. No, that quality God created in all of us, right? You have some loyalty to those who are within, correct? You don't have that loyalty to yourself, your own race, Africans. So if right now Africa gets built, yeah, you're going to allow Europeans and Asians and others to come in and govern with you the same way an African is supposed to govern his own land. So then they're going to steal it from you again, the evil ones. Europeans don't have that mentality. Asians don't have that mentality. The other sort of Asians of, right, Arabs don't have that. Hispanics, etc. They don't have it. They believe their own people, since it's their country and overall their continent, they should obviously have all the rights over the land to govern and be the presidents and own it. So that, right, others who enter and join them, right, brothers and sisters in humanity, they just have the same human rights. Get it? They live, they get to have a business, they get to thrive. Okay, but you don't get to have exactly the exact equal power of someone who's actually from this race or ethnicity in this land, because it belongs to them. These people are your guests. Do you ever give your guest your tenant policy documents and your key? No. You just ask the landlord maybe for an extra key, or you just let them in some other way. They don't take over your actual lease rights to your home, correct? It's the same thing. So that same trauma attachment, that evil demonic nonsense demons taught you, you have it. That's why Africans cannot improve. The ones in Africa. This one applies to those ones. If Europeans right now come to their land, they run to them like some god or some savior. They're so creepy. Their children are creepy. They don't treat you like a human and just judge you and who are you, what do you want? They have this submissiveness to the other races. Okay, we need to get rid of that. 2, because that's demonic. These kids are possessed. Goodness, I told you already. Demonic cycle. 2. Exactly. You actually have that loyalty to your own race. And then also to then, right, your own ethnicity. Without infringing on other people, right, of God's creation. But the way God created, right, for example, right now, Europeans didn't lose this quality. In their country, they always own it. Do you agree? All these people can come and join their political places with them, have businesses there. It doesn't matter. Does that belong to them? No, it still belongs to British people, if you're in Britain, right? Like that. It needs to belong to Africans. The African governments, the African land, and the actual place, you should never have other races having the ownership over it, making decisions for you. You're not going to be like, well, America's different. We get to have random president of different races. This is a mixed country. It's different. We're talking about your own continent. See what I'm saying? African continent. That's why anybody can steal Africa from you. It just hasn't happened yet, thank God. So this nonsense of China building this, and that's not normal. It's very fishy to me. People from other races, ethnicities, as just human beings. If they're good or evil, you separate them. You don't treat them the same, obviously. Just being just with them. Africans are creepy, and they're obsessed with other races. They have that internal hatred also. That's another problem. That's not connected, okay? They have problem number one of being submissive to other races. And then two, they have problem number two of hating their own kind. And then three, they have problem where they actually, if they were to ever get wealth, if the human race was to come together, if some savior came and built their entire continent, made it the most wealthiest on earth, a few years after that person dies, they'll probably lose it. Some other people will take it from them. And the evil ones will work with them against their own people. It's so dumb, right? But Europeans will never do that. Asians will never do that, because it's also a demonic curse on you that your children do that to you. That they don't honor their own continent, that they don't protect it, that they don't say, this is mine. You're my brother and sister from another race. Visit me, join me. I'll help you start a business with me. Do what you want, live, go buy that house, have fun. You're my guest, but this doesn't belong to you. It's not in their DNA right now. Some curse happened. Don't be like they taught their kids. Well, you can't teach every human to be evil. There's good ones, obviously. There's decent ones. But at a high number, they seem to lack this ability. So it's something spiritual. That's why God usually fixes these problems for you using religious leaders. People he sends you. It's not some excellent, intelligent African leader who's going to help you. That's a regular human. They can't fix big things like this because it's demonic.